Erev Tov, everyone. Today's email is all about different Seder foods to try this year during Passover. As we've said over and over, it's clear that this Seder won't look the same, and we won't have as many people sitting physically around our table as we have in past years. So, we thought, what a wonderful opportunity to play with a little bit of food, where normally the 5-pound brisket that you make for all your Seder guests will be too much food this year. Why not use it as an opportunity to explore different cultures, different types of food that can be turned into Passover recipes, kosher Passover recipes, and bring them to your Seder table. Perhaps it's just for this year, perhaps it's to add something for your Seder next year when, God willing, we'll have all those people sitting back around our Seder tables. So this evening, I'm going to look at 3 different recipes that Abby and I spent some time preparing and cooking and showing you how to make. You can also find the links to those recipes in the text of this email. And we've recommended some Seder Passover cookbooks for you to, if you want, order, and hopefully they'll get here before Passover. Hope you all enjoy this video. Hope everyone finds it to be tasty and inspirational in what you choose to serve at your Seder this year. We'd like to start off with a different idea for a salad course. So I'm going to pull on a bunch of different themes about this very simple salad that's in front of me, which is actually a Persian cucumber and mint salad. We found it intriguing because, of course, this Passover season actually started about a month ago when we were at Purim, which, of course, takes place in Shushan, which is in Persia. So this idea of carrying forward that 4 weeks, so we have from a different culture, which ties us back a little bit to this whole process. In addition, you can see that we've got the color green, which obviously ties us to this idea of spring, which is a huge theme throughout Passover. The dressing, which consists of mint and honey and apple cider vinegar and olive oil, continues to tie in those different themes of a little bit of tartness from the vinegar, a little bit of sweetness from the honey, tartness and sweetness, of course, being slavery and freedom from slavery, which we're going to see echoed when we get to the dessert course. And we have some added color from all that different green, as well as from, we have here cran raisins mixed in, but you could, of course, substitute pomegranate seeds. Again, tying in that idea that Passover is one of the 4 Jewish New Years, and pomegranates tied back to Rosh Hashanah, and that idea, again, of sweetness of the new year. So we have all this, and we start off with this Persian cucumber and mint salad. For the main course, we'd like to introduce you to a recipe called Minna de Pesach. It's a Sephardic recipe that's sort of a take on the matzah lasagna, except instead of being dairy, it uses meat. One of the things that intrigued us the most about this recipe is that once you've made your chicken soup for the Seder, you can actually repurpose the chicken into this recipe, which is a layer of a chicken mixture and matzah. Because it's sort of one matzah piece squared, although it takes 3 pieces of matzah, these can be made as individual dishes for each person at your Seder. So the serving size is included in the way that we make it as well. So we'll put this recipe together and we can see it, whether you want to use it for your Seder or during the week of Passover. It's one of those perfect, warm, comfort food recipes.
Hi everyone, so here I am. I'm preparing the filling for our Minna de Pesach, and I have combined onion, garlic, mushrooms, parsley, and I actually used ground turkey in this because we haven't made our chicken soup yet for Pesach, so I didn't have the chicken on hand. The next thing I'm going to do is add about a few eggs lightly beaten in, and everything is going to come together, and then I'll be able to layer it between the pieces of matzah. Now that I've finished my turkey mixture, I have begun to assemble the Minna de Pesach. So I've taken about 4 boards of matzah and soaked it in chicken stock, So I've done the bottom layer and then layered the turkey mixture with vegetables. And as I was making this, I realized with Pesach we use so much produce. I could have added cauliflower to this, eggplant, zucchini, whatever really is that you would like to use up. So now I'm finishing up my last layer with the filling, and I'm going to add the top matzah and the top. And now, once I'm finished with this, I'm going to put olive oil on top and let it get nice and crispy in the oven.
The final thing we're going to look at this evening is, of course, dessert. By the time the end of the meal rolls around, everyone is ready for something sweet to wrap up the meal before we move on to the afikomen, the last piece of matzah, and, of course, finishing up the Seder. But there's another idea. Instead of using something sweet, why not use something that's more in line with the themes of Passover? We have all these symbols on our Seder table that represent what it meant to be slaves in the land of Egypt, because of course that's what we're celebrating, our freedom from those moments. So we have the salt water, we have the maror to remember the tears and the bitterness of that moment. Why not use dessert to do something similar? And so the recipe that I have for you tonight is lemon squares, a recipe that actually comes from fellow OT congregants Amy and Gregory Smolin, with the idea that even dessert can be a piece of that memory of what it is that we're here remembering this evening. Because lemons are sour, which ties in perfectly with that idea of the bitterness of slavery. And so even as we're enjoying dessert, even as we're having that piece of the last piece of our meal, which completes the meal, even as we're in that space, we still use food to remember Yitziat Mitzrayim, to remember what life was like in Egypt. What a perfect dessert to tie in all those themes of Passover into the final piece of eating in our meal. So here we have the completed filling as well as the pastry. The filling for the lemon bars is eggs, sugar, margarine, lemon juice, a little bit of potato starch, and the crust for these bars is simply made of sugar and matzah meal and a little bit more margarine. Now we've already baked this crust the first time in the oven at 350 degrees for about 20 to 25 minutes. We're now going to combine the filling onto and the crust, pour it right in, and then it goes back in the oven, lowered to 325 degrees for a little bit more time until this firms up and these are finished. So we've completed all three dishes. We have our Persian cucumber and mint salad, we have our mina de Pesach for our main course, and of course we have our lemon bars for dessert. All of them playing on some of the different themes of Passover, all of them things that I've never had at my Seder before, and I hope that at least one of the three, if not all of them, are things that you haven't had at your Seder before either. Of course, I realize that you don't have to have any of these at your Seder this year. We simply wanted to give you an idea of experimenting with food this year when we have a fewer number of people at our table, when we have the opportunity and the time at home to play with these different recipes and figure out ways to bring new experiences, wonderful experiences, to our Seder table. Of course, you can prepare them beforehand, and it doesn't hurt to try them out before Passover anyways. So we've had that chance for me and Abby. We've made our dinner for this evening already. So thank you for being with us as we've made our dinner. I'm going to add a little bit of powdered sugar to the top of our lemon bars because we want to add that little bit of extra sweetness. And I'm going to start with the lemon bars because I can start with the dessert because the kids are in the other room, because I'm a grown-up, and just because I can. Wishing everyone wonderful Seders, Chag Pesach Sameach, even though we're early, and look forward to hearing all about the delicious foods that you have at your Seders.